Well, I mean, we talked a lot about Fox
Yeah.
yesterday, but just, you know, what he means to the lineup, what it means to possibly, or it sounds like have him back in there tonight.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, his offense, his overall impact is really important for our team. His leadership, his impact in all zones, certainly his offensive impact. You know, you're talking about a guy that produces at a really high rate, so it helps us from a 5-on-5 standpoint. It helps us from a power play standpoint. A guy that plays, you know, 22, 23 plus minutes a night in all situations. And when you take somebody like that back into your lineup, I think it's a real positive. So I think everybody's excited. Probably nobody more than him to get back in there and get back going again.
When you're down a couple of forwards who have, you know, given you some offense, and you get a defenseman like that who's capable of producing points, I mean, can that help offset it, or do you not look at it that way?
No, I haven't really looked at it that way. More just his contributions of him coming back in. You know, Phil's been out for a bit now, and so, you know, anything that we've done recently has been without that regardless. And it's tough when you take another player out, like Cap, but I think Johnny coming up in the season, the success that he's had in the season that he's had down there, his speed and his ability to create and shoot and score goals, good leadership from him as well down there, captain of the team, and so we add that good piece to our lineup, and so it's just different. But I think from the standpoint of the forwards, you know, what our forwards have been managing and doing their thing, and 5-on-5 we've been doing our thing. I think just adding Adam to the back end is a nice fit for us.
What does Adam add to your defensive structure? How does he come back in?
There's a lot of things. I think he defends really well. So just from the defense itself, like oftentimes players that think the game well offensively, I said this about penalty killers before, that are power play guys. They think about the penalty kill in ways defensively that from a power play standpoint about what the opposition's doing. So the same thing can be said from a defensive zone standpoint, and you know, where he's not a 6'5" defenseman that, you know, does it with brawn. He does it with hockey sense. He knows how to defend with his stick, with his skating, with his angles. He's a competitor, and so that puts him in the battle to come up with pucks. Then from there, from a defensive standpoint, it's that first step or that little move to make a breakout pass and move that pass, either attack open ice or move that puck up the ice, you know, to the forwards. And so I think, you know, you mentioned the offense, but from the defensive standpoint, I think he does a really good job as well.
Do you think that's recognized throughout the hockey community? Because his offensive attributes are always, you know, in the forefront.
I think you appreciate it more when you see him on a regular basis, or our fan base does, or a coach that works with him on a daily basis. But, you know, when you're recognized as one of the league's top defensemen, which he has been, I don't think it can be with no regard to defense. And so I think maybe there is that respect out there about him and his overall game and how he plays the game, because, you know, if you're put up 75 points but you're minus 40, yeah, you're probably not in a conversation to be a top defenseman in the league. And so maybe, you know, it'd be nice if that was the perception about him from everybody, because he is a really good, valuable two-way player from us that has really high-end offensive skills.
We saw him yesterday working on power play. Do you have any concern? Like, will you watch minutes a little more closely when he first comes back? Penalty kill, he'll do everything.
No, I mean, I don't think you'll see him play 30 minutes tonight. But we didn't go into it tonight with any restrictions. He's ready to go. He's cleared. He's ready to go. He wants to get in there, and you know, I would say it would be a normal game for him.
Even the Boston game, you gave up a lot of chances. Obviously, against Buffalo, you did too. So, where have the breakdowns come? Have they come while you've had the puck, and
yeah,
or turning it over, or is your coverage?
Every game's a little bit different. You know, the Boston game, I actually thought we were pretty good. That's a high-octane team, and I actually thought that we were pretty good with the way we played the game. You're right about Buffalo. We gave up too much. It came from some D-zone, it certainly came from turnovers. So in the Buffalo game, going back and looking at it the next day, even through the game as we were trying to straighten it out, we turned the puck over a lot in the neutral zone, trying to make plays. In the offensive zone, we were attack from the blue line in, we're trying to make the plays east-west, and they kept getting broken up. And sometimes a simpler approach is a better approach, especially a team that counters quick and comes back at you. So in Buffalo, there was that. I don't like some of the goals in the Buffalo game where we were in D-zone coverage and we didn't do a very good job of sorting out where our responsibilities were. And, they end up going through a seam to a backdoor flank goal where our goalie's got no chance at it. We have to be better defensively with what we're doing. All that being said, that's a 2-1 game, and I felt like we were pushing an awful lot there to try and tie that up 2-2. There was chances. Their goaltender played pretty.
It was probably the best goaltender game against.
Yeah, so it was a 2-1 game. It really unraveled at the end to make it 5-1. They scored, then they got the empty netter, and then we probably took a breath with 30 seconds to go. Like, you don't want that, but we did, and another one goes in, and so it leaves us in the last 5 or 6 minutes. It leaves us really bad taste in your mouth on what was a 2-1 hockey game where, yeah, they're talented, we know that, and they had chances and they were swinging for it, but man, we were swinging for it too, and we just couldn't get it in our favor. We couldn't get it to 2-2. We couldn't pull ahead of them by a goal where maybe we tighten up a little bit. I always think that you're a little bit more vulnerable when you're pressing into a situation when the score's 2-1, or if you're down 2-0, you've got to hunt at that point to try and get back to make it a game. And so there's definitely things that we showed and we talked about. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of little things, to be honest with you, in the Buffalo game where we weren't as good as we had been in the past. So
you've had a fair number of too many men.
yeah.
Is there a common thread to that?
Yeah, we got to be more detailed in our execution on the line change, and so you're right. The last one was on us. The one before, I don't necessarily agree. It was one of those accidental skates, and so for me, that's a call that I think could have gone by the wayside because there was no intent to play the puck. We had 1 foot on the bench and not even looking at the play, and it hits our skate. So that one could have been wiped out. But to your point, we've got to be cleaner. A lot of them are on us, and we've got to be better with our changes.
Have you revealed who your goaltender is tonight?
It's Shesty.
You talk about taking swings. Early in the season, I remember you talking about wanting to push more
Yeah.
and attack more
Yeah.
offensively, especially 5-on-5. Have you seen progress there? Like, what have you seen more recently?
Yeah, I mean, our numbers definitely moved in the right direction from an offensive standpoint, from generating chances and scoring goals. And, last game was tough. Like I said, I thought we had really good looks to create and to score, and it seemed like we whiffed on pucks a little bit, like we didn't execute on the pucks that we needed to. Goalie made some big saves, we missed the net, and so there were some really good chances and looks last game. But overall, from the time that I was saying that to the start of the year, even the last couple exhibition games to the start of the year, we just weren't generating enough. We weren't finding enough quality chances, pucks at the net, people at the net, scoring in the right opportunities in the right places, which wasn't enough of that. And I feel like there's a lot more of that now.
Not to make too much of this, but at the end of the game, last game, the video of Igor's frustration at the end of the game. Do you like that competitive fire in a goalie, or is that something that you do?
No, I do. I mean, we all felt the same way. I think that when you're winning hockey games, there's got to be a hate to lose, and he hates losing, and he was frustrated, and we all were. You always want to bang something, and he was frustrated. He's a competitor.